There's this huge tension in leadership right now. On one hand, you got to drive for excellence and maintain these really high standards. But on the other hand, you want to create a work environment that's actually, you know, human. That struggle, that's what we're going to get into today. So let me just ask you a question, straight up. Is your company's culture really running on excellence? Or, if you're being honest, is it actually fueled by exhaustion? It's a tough thing to admit, but so many leaders are feeling this squeeze every single day. They're caught in this performance trap that just feels completely unsustainable. And this quote, wow, it just nails the problem. The moment a person's value gets boiled down to just their numbers, their KPIs, they stop being people. They become tools. And that's the core crisis we're going to unpack here. Think about it. A lot of the leadership problems we see on the surface, like high turnover or people just checking out, they're really just symptoms. Beneath all of that, there's a hidden crisis. We call it the prove it economy. It's this environment where you're never just accepted. You have to constantly prove your worth through your results. And in a culture like this, what you do becomes who you are. Your output literally becomes your identity. The pressure systems that were meant to drive excellence, well, they start to feel a lot like fear. People aren't motivated by a sense of ownership anymore. They're motivated by the fear of not measuring up. And that is a recipe for burnout. For decades, we've tried to fix this stuff with the same old playbook. The outside-in model. Learn a new skill, get a better result, and hope the culture somehow fixes itself. But that model is totally broken. It creates leaders who look great on the outside, but are completely exhausted on the inside. And it teaches teams to just survive, not to thrive. So here's the fascinating thing. When a leader is under a ton of pressure and they don't have that stable inner foundation, they don't just fail in random ways. They actually default to one of 5 very predictable and very damaging cultural patterns. Let's break them down. Yep, 5 of them. And these are the distortions that always pop up when a person's worth is tied to their metrics. Once you learn how to spot them, you'll start seeing them everywhere. All right, distortion number 1 is control. This is not about being a strong leader who provides clarity. No, this is all about a leader trying to manage their own internal anxiety. You know the type, the micromanager who needs to approve every little thing? A leader who feels out of control on the inside will try to control everything on the outside. It's an illusion of safety for them, but it's suffocating for everyone else. Now, if the culture isn't being crushed by control, it often swings to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, chaos. This is your classic visionary leader who has a million ideas, but absolutely no grounding. Priorities change by the hour. No one knows what they're actually supposed to be working on. It gives the whole team whiplash, and they're left just guessing what really matters. And here's the sneaky part. Whether you're in a culture of control or chaos, you often end up in the exact same place: compliance. On the surface, it looks like everyone's on board. Everyone in the meeting is nodding along, saying yes. But it's a yes that's totally motivated by fear. There's zero real ownership behind it. And in a culture like that, innovation just dies on the vine. So what happens when you run a system on fear and extraction for long enough? Well, sooner or later, it just breaks. And that's our 4th distortion, collapse. This looks like massive burnout, deep-seated resentment, and your best people heading for the exits. The system is just unsustainable, and those who are left are totally disengaged. Now, for a leader who can't face that reality, who can't admit the system is collapsing, there's one last line of defense, and that's distortion number 5, image management. This is where what things look like becomes way more important than what's actually true. You hide huge failures behind slick PowerPoint decks. You care more about optics and reputation than the actual health of your people. It's all performance, zero integrity. Okay, so I know those 5 distortions sound pretty bleak, but here's the good news. This is the turning point. There is a really powerful solution that gets to the root cause of all these problems. It's a total reframe. And that solution is presence. Now, I need to be really clear about this. This is not some soft, fluffy, be nice skill. Not at all. Presence is regulated authority. Think of it like the load-bearing walls in a house. It's the internal structure that lets you stay grounded, honest, and connected, especially when the pressure is on. It's what keeps your leadership clean, not reactive. I love this analogy. A leader is the thermostat, not the thermometer. You don't just read the temperature in the room, you set it. Your team is constantly, subconsciously, adjusting their own behavior based on your emotional state. If you walk in anxious and frantic, they're going to become guarded and fearful. It doesn't matter what the values poster on the wall says. This lets us flip that old leadership model completely on its head. Instead of working from the outside in, we work from the inside out. It all starts with the leader's own internal awareness, their consciousness. That makes presence possible. Your presence then directly shapes the culture. And only then do you get healthy, sustainable outcomes. So that's the theory. But what does this actually look like day to day? Let's take a look at how this inside-out model completely transforms a dysfunctional culture into one that's actually aligned and effective. A leader who has presence doesn't need control because they're able to offer true clarity. See, control is about force. It's about making people agree with you to calm your own anxiety. Clarity, on the other hand, is about giving clean, decisive direction that actually empowers your team to move forward with confidence. And this is a huge one, moving from shame to accountability. Shame is personal. It's an attack. It makes someone feel like they are fundamentally bad or broken because they made a mistake, and that just makes them hide the truth next time. Real accountability? That's about restoring responsibility. It focuses on the behavior, reinforces the standard, and creates a path forward. And this right here, this is where it all clicks into place. Remember, presence isn't soft, it's structural. It's the architecture that transforms those 5 ugly distortions into real strengths. Anxious control becomes calm clarity. Whiplash chaos finds true stability. Fearful compliance turns into genuine ownership. Burnout and collapse are replaced by sustainable capacity. And hiding behind image management gives way to real integrity. When you boil it all down, it comes to this one simple truth. Your culture isn't built by mission statements or inspirational town halls. Your culture is just the sum of what you, as a leader, practice over and over and over again. Your small, consistent actions are what really build the world your team lives in. So I'll just leave you with this. The question isn't, what are your company's values? The real question, the one that truly matters is, when the pressure is on, what are you practicing? Because whatever that is, that's your culture.